Hi there, everyone. We are so excited to be here with you today for a little mini class. First of all, there are so many different ways you can be sharing stamping with the people who are around you, right? But today we wanted to feature one specific type of stamping event that you could do with your customers, and it's called Card Buffet. My name is Brandi Barnard, and I'm a trainer here at Stampin' Up. I'm also a demonstrator, and I've been doing Card Buffet for just a few months. I'm just planning my fourth one.
And I'm Paula Critchlow, the Vice President of Product and Design, and I've been doing Card Buffet for 3.5 years. My customers love it.
Awesome. So we've got the experienced one and the newbie with Card Buffet, but both of us are really excited about it and want to share with you why we love it. So first of all, what is a Card Buffet? Well, a Card Buffet is a simple and fun class where you create projects for your customers, a handful of different cards. Your customers come to the event. They pick and choose what they want to make from what you've offered. They can make as much as they want, and then they pay for whatever they've made, and that's pretty much it. That's Card Buffet. It's like a food buffet. When I go over there, I like to have lots of scones and no broccoli. Just kidding. I like broccoli. But for your customers, if they love one of the cards, they can make a lot of that and less of another, or they can have a little bit of everything. And customers love that flexibility.
Yeah, and it makes it so fun for them because you want to offer a variety of cards. In fact, that's one of 4 things we want to tell you you could think about is offer a variety of cards. Some demonstrators we've seen offer just a few cards, maybe 4 to 5, and some several, even up to 18. In my business, I offer 12 cards. I do 6 new ones each month, and then 6 carry over for a month. So there's 12 at any one time.
And we've seen demonstrators offer as many as like 18 and 20 choices who have been doing it a long time. If you're just getting started, start with a few. Our next tip is make it open house style, and that way this field kind of matches your choice of cards. It's also your choice on the time. Offer a window of time. I do between 6 and 10 p.m. and some of my people come and spend the whole time and stamp the whole time. Others might show up at 8 o'clock and stay till the end, or whatever that works for them. The point is that it's just an easy one to invite them to because they can make whatever they want and they can come whenever they want. So
Right.
It feels really flexible and open for them.
Right. I love the flexibility. And it's easy to set up. You can, I just buy plastic totes, and for as many cards as you have, you put everything in each tote to make the card for that tote. And so here's a picture you can see. So there's a bunch of different choices there. Another way to do it is that you can set up stations. So for instance, if you had more people coming than you have totes, you might want to set up the individual stations, and they can just rotate through the stations so that they actually have something to work on and they're not waiting for a tote at any one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so set it up the way that makes sense for you, but I do love the tote option because it cleans up itself. As your customer takes the tote to their spot, opens it up and makes what they want to, they also clean it up.
Yes.
And put it away and switch to the next one. And so when it's all finished, everything's tidied back up, and that's nice if you can do it that way. Now, as far as pricing, you're going to want to price it for what makes sense for you. For your area, your customers, definitely make sure you cover your costs. You don't want to be losing money on it, and add something if you'd like to for your time. But my biggest tip is keep it really simple, because what will happen is people will invite friends, and you want it to be easy for them to remember and go, oh, you get to make this many cards for this many dollars. And I actually have a minimum at mine, so I want to make sure each person who comes spends at least the minimum, and they can make more if they want to.
Right. I do that too. And regarding cost, I tracked my expenses for the first year and actually ended up raising the price just a little bit after I had some metrics around what I'd been spending and what they'd been buying. And so it's flexible. You can adjust as time goes on.
I love that. So again, do what you need to do, right? Adjust it if you need to. So we've kind of covered some of the how to do it, how to set up, right? And now we want to get to the fun part. Why is it that Paula and I love this so much? What are the big benefits to our business? So the first one for me is it gets people stamping. It's a lot of fun because you've got that variety of cards. They're getting their hands on all different products. People who have stamped with me in the past are coming more frequently for Card Buffet and touching and trying out different projects each month, which has been great for me and for the sales, of course. As you're thinking about this variety of cards to offer, be sure to include the Big Shot. You want to get them using that and give them experience actually rolling those folders through and so forth. Something Paula told me, and I love this, is every month when she's planning, she includes a project that she doesn't particularly like very much. And that's so that she's including a variety of styles. And inevitably, right, somebody says, yep, I love this card.
Someone always says that, yep. So yeah, so I love that about it, and I choose one that's not my style, and someone loves it. And the second benefit that I love about it is it really generates orders. One of the ways that you can encourage people to order is that you could give them some sort of a price break. So perhaps if they place a certain amount of order, they might get one card free or a couple cards free. If they place a really high order, you might give them all of the Card Buffet cards free. You don't have to do that. It's just a suggestion. I also incorporate each time a 30-second commercial where I spotlight a specific stamp set or DSP, just a quick commercial so that if it's something that they're interested in, they'll know a little bit more about it. I found that they naturally want to order. They're using the products as they're making the cards, and so they are falling in love with things and they naturally want to order. And then also I've noticed that my orders are higher as well because I'm ordering more frequently to replace the consumables and the things that they need to make the cards, and so I'm placing orders more frequently as well.
I've seen that too. My own sales have gone up. And the other thing that's great about it is I'm using those products that I buy. Sometimes I was having stamp sets that ended up getting retired and I never even mounted them. Has that ever happened to you, Paula?
Yes.
It's so sad when that happens, but when you're doing Card Buffet, it's less likely. You're rotating what you use a little more often.
So you're not only getting your customers to stamp more, but you're actually getting yourself to stamp more, which I love.
Everybody's mailing out more cards too, which is just a beautiful thing to happen. Now, it's definitely grown my business, and this was the biggest reason I gave it a try because Paula gave me her testimonial at work and said, this has grown my new customers and grown my recruiting too, and kind of shared with me some stories, and so I have tried it and seen the same result. First of all, it's really natural for people to invite friends. They come, they have fun, they go, next time I'm bringing my neighbor, she would love this. Or next time I'm bringing my friend who's going to be in town that day, yay! And so you're meeting all kinds of new people because it's something enjoyable and you want to share that with others who you know your customers will share. It gives you something to have on your calendar all the time, and this has been big for me because as you run into friends who you haven't seen for a while at the grocery store, or maybe someone you don't know very well, they'll say, oh, don't you do all that stamping? It's so cute what you do. It'll give you something to invite them to. You know exactly what you have coming and you can develop your little speech about it. I call it my elevator pitch, but you can give it anywhere. Something along the lines of, oh yeah, I teach a simple card making class at my house where you can just come and make whatever cards you want. You get to make this many for this many dollars and it's next Saturday. Do you want to come over? And you can just invite people on an ongoing basis because it's right there on your calendar and it's a great place to start if you're new to stamping.
Yes. And the other thing about it that I love is that it's so efficient. It makes me more efficient in all areas of my business. So for instance, if I get invited to a swap, in fact, I just got invited to one this Saturday, I can just pull a bin out, everything's already cut and ready to go, and I can make multiples of a card for the swap. When I am invited to a workshop, someone wants to have a party, again, I could pull a bin to demonstrate and then a couple bins for the make and take. If I were making videos for my business, again, I've got stuff all cut and prepped and ready to go to incorporate them into a video. So it's wonderful. Another way that I found efficiency in Card Buffet is that while the customers are stamping this month's projects, I am cutting and prepping for next month's projects.
I love that. And I have seen Paula do that at her events. She actually was holding up cards and saying, do you guys like the pink one or the gray one better? And we were all voting, and people at the event were getting excited about, well, I'm going to have to come next month because I want to make that card. Yeah. So it just kind of keeps growing that way. And that's a nice thing. If you decide to rotate old cards back again for a month, they come back for that reason as well. If they didn't get to make everything they wanted, you can say, these cards are back again next month, right. Plus I'll have a few new ones.
You still have a
chance.
And
it reduces how many new you have to make each time, right? So you could do half and half. Now, some of the other things we wanted to cover, we know that as you're thinking about doing card buffet, some frequently asked questions that might pop up, and we wanted to address some of those. First of all, how do you know how many to cut for? And that one is one that always pops up every time, right? That you kind of have to learn by doing, and it's you got to find a starting point. I know I had a demonstrator friend who said, well, I just started with 10 in each bin or 12 in each bin, and then you'll see if you run out or if you had lots of extras, and kind of adjust it to where you do get it to a science, and you go, when I create a new card, I always cut for 30 and put it in the bin, and that lasts me through. Customers can make extras of one and less of another if they want, so there's a little flexibility in there. And that leads to our next frequently asked question, what do you do with the leftovers?
Yeah, what do you do with leftovers? So you can recycle them into new cards, particularly the card bases. You're reusing those all the time, so you can use them to redesign new cards. And I also have a last chance, a couple of last chance bins, so that they're just while supplies last, and they know there's only going to be a few cards in each of those bins, and so if they like them, they make them because they know they're going to go away. And that's how I use up some of my other supplies. We also get a lot of questions about what do we do about adhesives?
Yeah, so you can make the choice on this one. Personally, you can have them bring their own, right? Personally, I would rather have people use Stampin' Up! Adhesives only. I want them to feel those and see how great they are and use them themselves. So I have to calculate that in and make sure I charge enough for my cards to cover the glue dots and dimensionals and snail and fast fuse that they are using up at my events. I know Paula gives an option to let them bring their own or use hers.
Yes.
So you could do that.
Yeah. And I also have a couple customers who are kind of forgetful, and so they have purchased a snail adhesive and they leave it at my house. I have it labeled for them. When they come back, they pick up their adhesive, and if they run out during the class, I just add the cost of a refill right to their order or to the cost of their cards.
Great. We wanted to show off some project ideas before we sign off. These ones Paula had with her, and she just dropped them out on her desk. So I took a quick picture. Why don't you tell us what we're seeing here? Why did you pick these ones?
So really quickly, you'll notice that they all have layers. I've noticed over time that they really like cards with lots of layers or with some dimension to them. You'll notice there's a catalog sample on the far left. Don't be afraid to use samples right out of the catalog. I've never had anyone complain. Plus, they're cuter in real life, so they don't complain about that. I try to incorporate more than one greeting, either by, as you see in this card number 3 in the top center, I've put a greeting on the card, and then I've actually taped an optional greeting to the outside. And sometimes I just throw extra stamps in the bin so they can choose a different greeting if they like. And then finally, in order to give them even more choices, sometimes I include some different DSPs that they can choose from. That sometimes saves me on the number of packages I have to buy of DSP. But then if you look at card number 5 and its companion card kind of over to the left, I designed a card and then just threw in a bunch of different washi tapes so they could choose whatever design they like.
I love that. Lots of flexibility there. Here are some of the ones that I did recently at a card buffet, and I wanted to point out how I kind of manage a more difficult card or an easier card. That one on the bottom right, the sailboat, took a little bit longer to put together, but I loved the design, and so I still wanted to include it. In order to manage that extra time, I did have my 12-year-old daughter help out, and I pre-cut the waves that are there on the sailboat. That's a little framelit. And in that case, I pre-cut those to save them a little time and make it a little more efficient. There are always some cards that are really quick too, and if I have a customer that walks in and says, oh, I've only got an hour, but I wanted to pop in, then I'll direct them, oh, bin number 7 has an easy one. This one on the bottom left, the thank you, was so fast to put together, so I had some pop in and just make a bunch of those, and that got them through the class. These were from a swap that we did recently at the office, and I just added them in for our class here today because you always should include birthday cards is something I've found. This is all birthday cards. They would all be great for a card buffet. And customers always need, everyone knows birthday people all the time, every month, right? Another big one for me is thank you, so I try to include thank yous. I wouldn't have guessed it. I learned it from experience, but my customers love wedding. They use up a lot of weddings,
yes.
So you'll learn.
Thank you, birthday and wedding, always my top 3 as well.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in today, everyone. We are excited about Card Buffet and think you should give it a try with your customers too. So if you like what you heard today, get out there and see how it works for you, and good luck.
Yeah, have fun.